and welcome back. Today we're going to be working on practicing more comparing problems, and we're going to practice identifying, meaning deciding which they are, comparing and takeaway problems. So we'll practice determining if a problem is a comparing problem or a takeaway problem, and then we'll practice solving them. Hope you're ready. Here we go.
Let's look at different ways to ask comparing problems. Let's look at this one. Alexander is 10 years old. His grandmother is 62 years old. What is the difference between their ages? Well, when we talk about age, we talk about someone being older or younger. Can we use those words to ask the same question? Right. We could say, how much older is Alexander's grandmother? Or we could say, how much younger is Alexander? This one says, Alexander weighs 64 pounds. Anthony weighs 85 pounds. What is the difference between their weights? When we talk about how much something weighs, we talk about it being heavy or light. So could we use words like heavier or lighter to ask these questions? You bet. We could say, how much heavier is Anthony? Or how much lighter is Alexander? These questions, while they look different, ask the same question. It's asking for the difference between the weights of the two boys. Let's try. Alexander has 67 stamps. Nikki has 37 stamps. What is the difference between the number of stamps they have? This isn't like weight or age, or we can say heavier, lighter, younger, older. So what words would we use here? Well, you might have more stamps or fewer stamps. Could we use those words? Of course we can. We could say, how many more stamps does Alexander have? Or how many fewer stamps does Nikki have? For this one, you're going to come up with all three questions. I'll read the start for you. Alexander's friend Karina has 2 snakes. Her garter snake is 11 inches long. Her boa constrictor is 20 inches long. Can we come up with a question that uses the words the difference between? Of course we can. Did you say, what is the difference between the lengths of the 2 snakes? Good job. Now for length, we talk about something being longer or shorter. Can we come up with a question that uses the word longer or shorter? If you said, how much longer is the boa constrictor, or how much shorter is the garter snake, you got it. Now, go ahead and turn to page 34. On page 34, you will find the problems that we were just practicing with. Let's read the directions for this page together. Comparing problems. Step 1, read the problem. Step 2, draw an open number line. Step 3, write an equation. Step 4, what's the difference? Remember, for comparing problems, you can use either addition or subtraction, but we really should be practicing with both, right? Make sure if you use addition, you show an addition equation, and if you show subtraction, that you use a subtraction equation. Let's do this first one together. The first one is about Alexander and his grandmother. I'll read it for you. Alexander is 10 years old. His grandmother is 62 years old. What is the difference between their ages? Remember, we can do addition or subtraction for comparing problems. I'm going to show both. We need to make sure we're practicing both. For addition, I'm going to start with my low number and then end at my high number, so 10 and 62. Now, I'm being asked to find the difference between the two numbers. So my equation will read 10 plus blank equals 62. We're going to solve for the blank. For this one, I want to make a big jump to get as close as I can to 62. Well, I could get to 60, and that would be plus 50. And then from 60 to 62, that's easy. That's just plus 2. So I write that. Now I have to total up my two jumps. 50 plus 2 is 52. 10 plus 52 equals 62. Remember to write the difference in that final column. Now we can show it with subtraction. For subtraction, I start with my high number, 62, and I'm going to end with my low number, 10. My equation will be 62 minus blank equals 10. Now, I need to make my jumps. Well, the first jump I want to do is a big jump. I could get close to 10. What could I do? I could get to 12, and that would be minus 50. Well, 62 minus 50 is 12, and then from 12 to 10 is just minus 2. So 50 and 2 is 52. Good, we got the same answer. 52, whether it's addition or subtraction. You will do the same things for the next three problems. The open number line, and the equation, and the difference. I would suggest doing both addition and subtraction for some extra practice. You will have to show both later on with your Show What You Know, so it's always good to practice both. Okay, good luck.
Let's start with takeaway problems. Read this one with me. Alexander had blank dollars. He spent blank dollars. How much money does he have left? What makes this problem a takeaway problem? Think about what we discussed last time about how we defined what a takeaway problem was. What about this problem says that it's a takeaway problem? Well, Alexander starts with an amount of money, and then he spends some money. So he has an amount, and we're going to take some away. Take away, because he's spending it. There's also a change that's going to occur. He's going to have one amount at the beginning and a different amount at the end. So there's a change in the amount of money. And the answer to the question is going to be whatever he has left. Let's go ahead and solve this problem with some numbers. Let's say Alexander had $70 and he spent $15 on a new game. Okay. For takeaway problems, we're going to start with 70 because we're going to be solving for 70 minus 15. That's what we need to solve. So we're going to start with 70. We're subtracting, so we know we're going to draw an arrow backwards. 15 has a tens and a 1, so we're going to break them up. So let's start with our tens. We subtract 10. 70 minus 10 is 60. Now we need to subtract the ones. So we take away 5. 60 minus 5 is 55. So 70 minus 15 equals 55. How much money does he have left? He has $55 left. That's our takeaway problem. Now we're going to look at a comparing problem. Read this comparing problem with me. Alexander has blank dollars. Nikki has blank dollars. What is the difference between the two amounts of money? What makes this problem a comparing problem? Think back to last lesson when we talked about what a comparing problem was. How does this problem fit that definition? Well, looking at this problem, I see that Alexander has an amount of money, and so does Nikki. But neither of their amounts of money is being changed. There's no change like in a takeaway problem. Alexander is going to have the same amount of money at the end of the problem as he does at the beginning, and so will Nikki. What we're being asked is to find the difference between the two amounts. We're being asked to compare the two amounts. That difference between are comparing words that tell us that we're not changing the numbers, we're just comparing them against each other. The answer is going to be the difference between, or the distance between them on an open number line. Let's add some numbers. Let's say Alexander has, $55. And Nikki has $68. When we solve our comparing problems, we don't need to find out what is on either end of the open number line because we already have that. We have our 55 and we have our 68. We have to figure out how we get from one to the other, what that jump is. Now, remember with comparing problems, we can solve this two ways, with addition or subtraction. Let's take a look at it with addition. 55. I need to get to 68. That's going to be a really big jump. Maybe I want to do that in two jumps. I know that 60 is between the two. I could make a jump to 60 and then make a jump to 68 to figure out what my big jump would be. 55 to 60, we're going forward, so we're adding, would be plus 5. 60 to 68, well that's easy, that's plus 8. So I make a jump of plus 5 and a jump of plus 8. So what is my total jump? Well, 5 plus 8 is 13. So for this problem, I could represent it with the equation 5 plus 13 equals 68. 13 is the distance between the two amounts. It is the difference as well. I can also solve this with subtraction. I know I need to find 68 minus a number equals 55. So I start with my 68 on one side, I put my 55 on the other. Again, I need to figure out what my jumps are. Well, from 68, I'm going to go to my nearest 10, which is 60. That's a jump of minus 8. From 60, I go to 55, which is a jump of minus 5. 5 and 8 make 13. My difference between the two is 13 whether I add or subtract because it's the same distance between 55 and 68 no matter which direction I'm going. Let's solve another one. Here's some animal facts for you. A cheetah can run 75 miles per hour. A kangaroo can hop 44 miles per hour. How much faster is the cheetah? Well, this is a comparing problem because they're using a comparing word like faster. So we need to solve the difference between 75 and 44. Let's go ahead and do this on an open number line. Remember, we can do comparing problems with addition or subtraction. Let's do addition first. I have 44. I need to get to 75. Well, I know that I can add to get from 44 to 74 because that would be adding tens. 44 to 74 would be 10, 20, 30. Okay, so this would be plus 30. But then I need to go from 74 to 75. Well, that's easy. That's just plus 1 more. So I made a jump of 30 and then a jump of 1. So 44 plus something equals 75. What is it? Well, 30 and 1 makes 31. So the difference is 31 miles per hour. But we can also do this with subtraction. For subtraction, we're still going to write down our 44 and our 75. Now, I could make the exact same jumps. I could go 75 to 74, but I could also do this in reverse. I could make a big jump first to get to 45. 75 minus 30. Let's take a look. 75 minus 10, 20, 30 is 45. And then I can go one more to get to 44. So this would be minus 1 to get to 44. The answer, though, is still going to be the same. 75 minus 31 equals 44. The difference in speed between a cheetah and a kangaroo is 31 miles per hour. We've shown it with addition and we've shown it with subtraction. Okay, let's go try some in your workspace book.
Comparing or take away. The directions on this page say determine whether each problem is a comparing problem or a takeaway problem. Circle comparing or take away. The example problem on this page says, Laura collected 42 cans. Ramon collected 58 cans. How many more cans did Ramon collect than Laura? Well, I'm not taking any cans away from Laura or Ramon, but I am being asked to compare the numbers of cans they have. So this is a comparing problem. That's why they circled comparing. We are going to do this page together. Hope you're ready. Number 1, I baked 60 cookies. I brought 30 of them to the school for a party. Well, that sounds like fun. How many cookies did I leave at home? Well, we had 60 cookies, and we took 30 of them away to school. Well, doesn't that sound a bit like a takeaway problem? Let's circle takeaway. Number 2, it was 63 degrees in San Francisco. It was 90 degrees in New York. How much cooler was it in San Francisco than in New York? Am I taking any degrees away from San Francisco? No. Am I taking degrees away from New York? No. Am I being asked to compare the temperatures in San Francisco and in New York? Yes. So this is a comparing problem. Okay. Let's look at number 3. My friend scored 16 points in a basketball game. I scored 10 points. How many more points did my friend score than I? I'm going to let you think this one through. Is it comparing or takeaway? If you said comparing, you got it right. We're not taking points away from anybody here, but we are being asked to compare how many more points the friend had than you had. So we're comparing. Number 4, my brother collected 56 baseball cards. He gave 25 of them to me. How many baseball cards does he have left? Is this comparing or takeaway? If you said takeaway, you're correct. You are taking baseball cards away from your brother when he gives them to you. So his number is going to change, which makes it a takeaway problem. Turn to page 38. Page 38 says solve comparing and takeaway problems. We've just practiced identifying them. Now we're going to solve them. The directions on this page say, step 1, read the problem. Circle comparing or takeaway. Okay, we just did that on the previous page. Step 2 says, draw an open number line. Step 3 says, write an equation. Remember, your equation should always match. For comparing, you can do addition or subtraction, so your equation always needs to match what your open number line is. For takeaway, we do subtraction. Step 4 says, Write the difference. We will do the first two problems together, and then you will do the last two on your own. Number 1 says Brian has a box of 24 colored pencils. Rosa has a box of 36 colored pencils. How many more pencils does Rosa have than Brian? First, we have to answer, is this a comparing problem or a takeaway problem? What do you think? Are we changing the number of colored pencils by taking some away? No. Are we being asked to compare the numbers of pencils each person has? Yes, so this is a comparing problem. Now for comparing problems, we can use addition and subtraction to solve. We're going to show both for practice. Here we go. For addition, I start with my low number, 24, and I go to my high number, 36. My equation is going to be 24 plus blank equals 36. Go ahead and write that now. We can start thinking about the jumps that we're going to make. Well, from 24, I want to get as close as I can to 36. So I can do a big jump to 34. Well, 24 to 34 is plus 10. Nice, easy tens. Write that down. Then we get to think about a jump from 34 to 36. Well, that's easy. That's just plus 2. Now we need to total 10 and 2. Well, 10 and 2 is 12, so I write that in my equation. Don't forget to write it for the difference, too. The difference between the number of pencils is 12. Now we're going to solve with subtraction. For subtraction, I start with my high number, which is 36, and I'm going to end at my low number, which is 24. My equation is 36 minus blank equals 24. Write that down, and let's start thinking about our jumps. Are you ready? Okay. 36 to 24. What's a big jump I could make to get close to 24? Well, I could jump to 26. That would be minus 10. And then I just need a little jump from 26 to 24, which would be, did you say minus 2? You're right. 10 and 2 make 12. Which is good. We always want to make sure for comparing that our two answers match. That's a sign that we did it correctly. Go ahead and write that down now. And then we will move to number 2. Here we go. Number 2. Anissa had $84. She spent $62 on a camera. How much money does she have left? Is this comparing or takeaway? It's takeaway. She had $84 and we're taking away $62 to spend it on a camera. We're going to solve this with subtraction. Our equation will be 84 minus 62 equals blank. For our open number line, we're going to start with 84. We're going to take away 62, but we're going to do it by breaking the 62 up into 60 and 2. So our first jump is a big jump of minus 60. 84 minus 60. Remember, you can always count back by tens or use your hundreds chart, but we know that 84 minus 60 is 24. And we need to take away the 2. 24 minus 2 is 22. The answer is 22. So we write that in the difference. How much money does she have left? $22. Turn to page 39. On page 39, you will see numbers 3 and 4. You will do these just like we did numbers 1 and 2. If it's a comparing problem, please show the addition and the subtraction. If it's a takeaway, of course you just show the subtraction.